Hey Luke, this is Mrs. Skogland. Just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment. So we're mostly going to talk about Chapter 9 since that was the question that you starred, but I'll kind of reference some other things throughout your paragraphs as well. So starting off, I always look for a topic sentence that very clearly answers the question that was provided to you and kind of previews what's going to come in the paragraph. So I thought for the most part, Luke, you did a good job of having topic sentences. Like this one was asking about like the difference in labyrinths and mazes and why, a labyrinth is more important. And so I thought you did a good job of previewing the right side versus the left side. I could have used maybe a little more detail as to what that meant, but I think you're definitely on the right track. Then I actually look at the last sentence of your paragraph, which is your concluding sentence, and ideally we want that to also tie back to the question and kind of let the reader know that the paragraph is ending. I liked how you talked about how going through life like a labyrinth is more important. I thought that was a good way to give it some significance and kind of conclude the paragraph. Again, though, I just would have liked more detail on why that is. So, like, why are labyrinths important? Okay. All right, next I looked at your evidence. I thought you did a good job selecting evidence. So like here you talk about what a maze is, and then the second quote, you talk about sort of the differences between the two. One of the issues I noticed though, Luke, is a lot of times how you're embedding or like integrating the evidence into your writing. So several times throughout your paragraphs, I noticed that there are quotes like this one just kind of hanging out as sentences on their own. And because this is your writing, we want at least some kind of little introduction into that quote, which like you have one down here, like Pink explains how mazes engage the left brain, blah, blah, blah. So let's try to always make sure you have that before your quote. It shouldn't just ever be on its own. Next on commentary. Again, I think this might be an opportunity where you could go back and revise a little bit. I just felt like a lot of times your commentary was a little brief. So like for example here when you have like mazes, the left brain, labyrinth is the right brain, in your commentary like you never really quite walk me through that. Like you say a labyrinth is the creative way, but like why is that? Why is it more creative than a maze? Like what are the differences in those? So I think just really looking carefully at that evidence and making sure you're tying it back to the question in your commentary. All right, lastly I looked at your conventions and citations. So citations look really good. And then conventions, I would just encourage you to watch out for personal pronouns like this one, you, just a little bit too informal. So I would have phrased it something like a calm course where people can go through at any pace they want. That just elevates the paragraph a little bit and makes it feel a little more professional. All right, I thought our directed activities also looked good, and I was going to point out this one where you interviewed your dad, but I think you may have just uploaded your L-directed questions. Anyway, I liked that question. I was glad you got to have a conversation with your dad about that. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little feedback.